Uh, Kindly let me know I'm audible and also the presentation is visible.
Yes, sir, you are audible and the presentation is also visible to us.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, yesterday we have discussed about, we'll have a quick recap about our yesterday's session. I request everybody, please be in mute. Yes. We'll have a quick recap about our yesterday's session. So yesterday we were discussing about safety while using the machines. We have seen different types of machines, which is about manual punching machine or press machine. We have seen roller machine, and we have seen a bending machine, and we have seen CNC lathe, and also we have seen the horizontal boring or drilling machines. And we have seen the specific hazards with respect to those machines, and also we have discussed regarding the safety precautions to be followed while operating those machines. Now, and also we have seen the safety maintenance procedures, and we have discussed about TPM, the total productive maintenance, TPM objectives. We have discussed the purpose of TPM. We have discussed about the benefits of TPM. Also, we have discussed about the various pillars in the TPM. Okay. Today, we are going to talk about ventilation and heat stress. Any guess what is mean by ventilation and illumination? What is the difference between both? Any guess? Ventilation and illumination. Frequent lighting and air. Okay, very good. Any other guess? Any guess? Air passing process. Okay. Okay, movement of fresh air. Okay, fine. So today we are going to talk about heat stress and also ventilation. Ventilation is basically about the condition of the workplace, the fresh air availability or the quality of the work area, and illumination talks about the visibility or the light or the lux levels of your workplace. Now we'll see what is the purpose of the ventilation. Air is a life, and also the fresh air is the first need of the survival of living creatures like us, as well as animals who have a life. An absence of air brings a death within few minutes. So if you are not, or you are in a place where there is no air at all, So within a few minutes of time, you may get tired. That is the one measure, a requirement of human beings to alive. Air is the one of the key requirement. Then life without breathing is not possible, and the clean air is needed for the whole life, for breathing and functioning of human body. Therefore, a good ventilation giving sufficient fresh air is a permanent requirement. So without breathing, our life, we can't extend or we can't proceed. So breathing is the integral part of our living system or our body mechanism. So a good ventilation giving sufficient fresh air is a permanent requirement in a workplace. It is not about, we are talking about in a household, or we are talking about sitting in a well ventilated area. We are talking about in a industry condition or in a workplace. There we need a continuous supply of sufficient fresh air. It is not about continuous supply of fresh air. There is a word called sufficient. The people should able to breathe. They say that the management say that yes, we have sufficient number of windows, or we have many windows, we have draft fans for keeping the workplace fully ventilated. But whether it is sufficient for the people they have employed in that specific area. The human body cannot tolerate excessive temperature. Heat stress produced by very hot or cold exposures causes adverse effects on health, safety of work people. So what will happen whenever you start working, automatically our body gets start heating. A simple example, if you run for some time, what will happen? Immediately your body get heated. Then inversely, your body starts sweating to cool down the body. The similar way, wherever you are working, if the workplace is in a heat generated process like furnaces, you are working on any fabrication area, or you are working in any specific location where you will be continuously exposing to the heat. So what will happen? It will increase your body temperature as well. Therefore, the environmental temperature control is also permanently needed for a well functioning of human body. That's why especially in summers, we won't allow our workers to work in between the mid-noon or mid-afternoon. Like I can say from 12 to 3, they'll give a rest break so that they are not going to expose to the excess sunlight or excessive sunlight. So automatically, apart from a fresh air, we need also a controlled temperature for a well functioning of our human body. For example, if you see our laptops and servers, IT systems, we'll keep it in a controlled environment. We'll give an AC, separate AC systems for that. Otherwise, what will happen? They'll get hanged because of heat. So to work a data center properly or effectively, it should have certain temperature conditions. We have to create an environment. It should not get heated up. A ventilation helps in removing excessive temperature. That's where the ventilation comes in. Wherever the processes or the operations or activities which are creating temperatures in a work area, where the ventilation plays a major role. Now we'll see. A heavy physical work or a heavy workload causes heat stress and strain and increase a metabolic heat, a body temperature, sweating, heart rate, etc. To maintain controlled body temperature, ventilation is necessary. What will happen? Heavy physical work or heavy workload. Heavy physical work in the sense, it is not about like an IT employee who is sitting in front of the laptop and he is working on laptop. And in other way, a construction worker who is carrying the bricks from a ground floor to the 15th floor. So, other hand, a worker who is working in construction sector, his body physically heavy work, so that there he'll produce a more heat and also heat stress, a strain, increase the metabolic heat. Then also it will increase the temperature. Eventually, as I mentioned, once your body starts getting heated up, so indirectly or directly, your body starts getting sweaty to reduce the temperature. To maintain these kind of controls, or to maintain this temperature, body temperature, there we need a good ventilation. Sometimes we used to be in a summer, we are walking or we are sitting somewhere. Even though we are sitting under the shade of a tree, that there is no proper airflow, we will feel very hot. And sometimes we are walking on the complete sun, but still there isn't a good ventilation there or good airflow is there, we will not feel the temperature, because the air will suppress the temperature which is therein. Then carbon dioxide is continuously exhausted by the human beings. Much more contaminants are added by the manufacturing process to pollute air. Therefore, a cleaning of air and the supply of fresh air with sufficient oxygen. 1 second. Yeah. With sufficient oxygen also necessary. This possible by good ventilation and also pollution control techniques. So carbon dioxide continuously exhaled and also much more contaminants added to the workplace. When it happen, whenever you are making people congested, or in a small area of a room, you are keeping multiple employees and you are making them to work. And if you are not providing any proper ventilation system, so that what will happen? The exhausted or exhaled carbon dioxide, as well as the equipments which are generating the dust or the pollutants mixed together, it is going to pollute the existing air. There, we should ensure that we are giving proper oxygen supply. Or in other way around, if I take an industrial example, if you are entering into a confined space, there we'll put the exhaust air or a ventilation hood will give, or sometimes we'll give the breathing airline to the entrant who is entering into the confined space. Then the quantity and quality of air required for the ventilation depends on. So whenever we need a quality air, and when we need the quantity and the quality of air, it depends on various circumstances. So number one, the rate of heat generation in the room. So when we need this requirement, whenever the temperature or the rate of heat which is generating in your workplace, if it is high, then we will come up with a requirement of ventilation. Maybe in winters, we may adjust with a fan, or maybe once the summer starts, we will look for ACs, because the outside temperature, the atmosphere temperature, which is so hot, so that your fan will not give you enough control about the temperature in your room, so that we'll prefer ACs to reduce the or to maintain the temperature levels. Then next condition is a rate of contaminants or gas, vapor, dust generation in the room. So what is the rate of contaminants? Which means the volume of contaminants which are generating from your area. Based on that also, your ventilation system depends. If your ventilation system, you are keeping at very high volume, where it is give the 1,000 cubic meters of air, so but your pollution levels or the pollutant levels are very low, so there is no use. This is going to be a cost intensive. So whenever you have more pollutants and there is a high chance of temperatures which are generating in that specific area, where we'll go for ventilation systems. Then rate of dispersion of heat and contaminant. how it is dispersing, and also rate of dilution or removal that may be achieved by the ventilation. So dilution in the sense, upon your existing ventilation system, how much heat you are able to dilute, or how much heat you are able to remove from the work area. That is also one of the factor we have to see, so that we will design our ventilation system accordingly. Then rates of dilution, that is clear. And electric fittings for ventilation system is a flammable or explosive area should be a flame proof and also approved type. So regarding this flame proof electrical fittings, we will discuss more in IS 108, which is chemical safety. So this will be a flame proof electrical fittings. Now we'll see what are the effects of good and bad ventilation. So what is effects, or I can say other way, the consequences of a good and bad ventilation system. If you see the availability of sufficient fresh air for breathing and removing oxygen deficiency from the confined space. These are the effects of a good ventilation system. First is availability of sufficient fresh air. If we have a proper ventilation system, what will happen? Automatically, you will have sufficient fresh air. Then automatically what will happen? Removing oxygen deficiency from the confined spaces. For example, confined spaces, you are giving ventilation hood for the people who have entered inside. So that what will happen? There will give the removing oxygen deficiency. Oxygen deficiency means what? Which is a less oxygen. Generally, the oxygen levels will be 19.5 to 21% in the, it is a good range. Whenever the oxygen levels which will fall down below 19.5%, so that's specific circumstances will call as oxygen deficit atmosphere. Oxygen deficit atmosphere. If you say if the oxygen percentage is more than 21%, that atmosphere will be called as oxygen enrichment. So this oxygen enrichment is more danger for to catch a fire. And deficit will be have a problem for people for the breathing suffocation, or the amount of oxygen will be less. Then removal of dilution of carbon dioxide and also other pollutants. If you're having a good ventilation system, what will happen? We will able to remove the carbon dioxide and also other pollutants which are in the atmosphere. Then decrease in environmental heat or temperature. How it will decrease? Because of air which is changing. What will happen? Whenever you're in an area where the temperature is very high, slowly the air which is there inside that specific room or work area also slowly start getting heated up. Whenever you provide a good ventilation, the heated air always lesser than a fresh air, so that it will always try to escape. Then the fresh air always tends to come in, because whenever the heat and air will go out, automatically there will be a gap which will generate, which is not invisible. Then automatically the fresh air comes in. Then increase in air changes per hour as per the statutory requirement. I think what is the statutory requirement per hour? Number of air changes, any idea? Number of air changes. Okay. Number of air changes in a workplace, Hariram. कितना air changes होना चाहिए? If I'm not wrong, I think per hour 6 or 6 to 7 times. I think the total area or the total volume of the room has to be changed. For example, if I say 10 cubic meters, the air volume. So minimum 6 to 7 times. If I'm not wrong, 6 to 7 times, the air changes has to be happened. That is a good portion. $18 per change. It is per hour or how it is, Praveen? Per hour? 1 second. I'll just now you people can unmute and talk.
Yes, sir. It's per hour.
18 air changes.
Yes, sir.
Is it? I mean, which requirement actually as per?
Sir, I'm just referring that norm. So I'm just maybe ventilation and heating, ventilation and air conditioning at. I'm just missing that number, sir. So I will refer you that name as per that. Normal conditions in the emergency it should be 18 or the 13 air percentage as per normal. I think that is the per hour or that I will share. So
Okay,
that
no,
I
no
was
problem.
missing.
No problem, no problem. Thank you. Even even I too forgot actually. I have seen very long back. As per my knowledge, 6 to 7 air changes, if I'm not wrong, as per I think even in the Factors Act also there is an reference. I have to refer and I'll come back to you on this. Yeah.
सर क्वेश्चन क्या था समझा नहीं सर मैं
इसका क्वेश्चन क्या है कि फॉर एग्जांपल एक जो रूम पे वो कितना हवा चेंज होना चाहिए, मतलब कितने बार चेंज होना चाहिए. फॉर एग्जांपल एक रूम का साइज हो गया 10 क्यूबिक मीटर. जो 10 क्यूबिक मीटर का साइज का वॉल्यूम का रूम है, इसमें कितने बार एयर चेंजेस होना चाहिए. फॉर एग्जांपल 10 बार होना है तो कितना होगा, 100 क्यूबिक मीटर हो जाएगा ना. कितना बार होना करके क्वेश्चन. और 5 बार होना
पर
है.
घंटा
हाँ, 1 घंटा में बराबर.
सर ये आइडिया नहीं सर.
ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं. Okay. Then maintaining the metabolic body temperature and also heat balance. It is about our body temperature. We have a good ventilation system. Automatically, the metabolic heat, our body heat also will be under control. Then removal of air contaminants. So automatically, whenever you have a fresh air inflow in our system, so automatically the dust, gas, fumes, all will be removed from the workroom. Then maintaining room temperature for the comfort level. So automatically ventilation system is there. Due to the ventilation system, always the hot air will go off, then fresh air will comes in. In that condition, we will get the proper comfort level. The temperature will be come into the normal condition so that there we will not feel any discomfort. Then providing a desired air conditioning, cooling or heating units. This is also one, and removal of body odor and also bad smell from the room. This is also one of the effect of a good ventilation system. Remove the body odor. It is about the smell, which is because of the people works so hard. Because of sweat, they'll get odor. Then also the smell which is there in the room in case of any chemical spill or any other spills happen, that odor also will be goes off due to a good ventilation. Now we'll see the effects of bad ventilation. It is completely an opposite what we have seen before. A non-availability of fresh air for life and also insufficient air changes, no cooling effect, discomfort, body stress and strain, no removal of air contaminants, body odor, bad smell, etc., and increasing chances of accidents, lowering efficiency and productivity, no job satisfaction, more time for cooling off hot vessels and substances, and also a violation of statutory provisions. These all are the effects or the bad effects of bad ventilation system. So it is completely reverse what we have seen before. So if you're not having ventilation, you will be in a dusty area, your metabolic heat will increase. So the workplace temperature will increase. So then there is no cooling effect properly. Your body gets stress because of temperature. You'll be getting excess sweat. So you lose the water in the form of sweat. So you'll get dehydrated very faster. You'll having no job satisfaction because of your continuously working in a unconditional temperature or unconditional workplace. All these will be the bad effects of a ventilation. Now we'll see a classification of ventilation systems. There are two types. One is natural ventilation. Other one is mechanical ventilation. If you see in a natural ventilation, here there is a dilution or cross ventilation based on the wind action, and also a roofed ventilation or a stack actions. These are the natural. So like how we'll have doors and windows, it will be coming naturally. There is no mechanical aids which you have used for the bringing fresh air into your room or a workplace. If you see a mechanical ventilation, there will be again two types. One is for the buildings and one is for the contaminant controls. This mechanical for the buildings will be all your HVACs and air ducts, fresh air ducts, etc. And for the contaminations will be your the exhaust hoods. So where you are planning to remove or you have an intention to remove the contaminants from the specific workplace. That is your contaminant control. What does mean by contaminants? Any idea? Contamination. Mixed substances. Okay. Any other expectations like mixed particles? Yes, I have unmuted Praveen, please.
Mixing of the material which is damaging the original product and damaging the properties of original product. That is the contaminant.
Correct. Whenever an addition of a third material which is comes in and mixing with an original material which is losing the original property or which is the damaging the existing properties of a material, and also which is not a good or which is harmful for the people to consume or people to inhale. If we say contamination of air, I'll say it is harmful. Some chemicals or the vapors which are mixing with a fresh air, so it is going to be contaminating the fresh air, which is polluting or which is contaminating, so that we are not supposed to breathe such an air, so that if you're breathing that specific contaminated air, we will be fall sick. That is contamination. Thank you. So if you see for building, there will be an exhaust or a negative ventilation like induced draft, and a plenum or positive ventilation system which is a forced draft, then a combined or a compound ventilation, then roof ventilation, then a comfort ventilation air conditions, which is about the refrigeration, heating, and also humidity controls. In other way, for the contaminant control, you will have a dilution for the roofed ventilation and local exhaust ventilation, and also emergency ventilation. These will be for the contaminant control. The ventilation systems are two types, as we see: the supply air system, other one is exhaust system. And supply air system are again two purposes. One is for heating, ventilating, and air conditions, which is nothing but HVACs for comfortable environment. And second will be to replace the exhausted air from the plant, so that which is taking out the contaminant air in the work area. If you see exhaust systems, again in two types in the sense, general and local exhaust systems. In general exhaust systems is for heat control and also a removal of contaminant by dilution ventilation, and local exhaust system is for capturing a contaminant at the source. Local exhaust system in the sense it is specifically for a specific location. I can take an example of a welding booth. So in a welding area, what will happen there is they produce the welding fumes. So there I'll install a local exhaust ventilation system, so that what will happen, whatever the fumes which are generated from my welding process, it is going to be captured through this local exhaust system, then put it to the collection system. That is for ventilation. In other way, I'll put an exhaust fan in a room. There I have connected for the complete room area. I'm not talking about any specific location. There what is happening? There it will get dilute the contaminants. Dilute in the sense it will reduce the concentration. For example, before it is 700 ppm, parts per million. So because of my dilution ventilation system or the windows or doors which I am having, or which is general, once I open all the doors and windows, what will happen? It is become to 200 ppm, parts per million. It is diluted the contaminants. It is the general exhaust ventilation system. Local will be for the specific to an area where your sources, wherever the source are there you are installing your exhaust. Then natural ventilation. A natural ventilation is included because of induced because of two reasons. One is outside wind pressure and also the temperature difference. Natural ventilation will be here. You are not using any mechanical aids. You are not using any energy, or you are not using any power, or you are not using any machineries to ventilate your workplace. It's a natural base. So generally this natural, how it will happens? It depends on the inside and outside pressure difference of your work area. If your work area pressure inside it is more, so that no air will comes in, because of the pressure is high inside than the outside. If your inside the pressure is low, automatically the outside air will comes in. Then temperature difference of air inside and outside of the room, or chimney effect. So this is also same. If the temperature is very high in your area, so automatically the fresh air comes in, because already the work area, the air is already heated up in your workplace, so that it will always tends to escape from that specific location, so that there will be a gap, or there is a vacuum created due to that chimney effect, so that there always the fresh air will have tendency to comes in. Then there is a positive pressure on a windward side and negative pressure on leeward side. By providing adequate openings in these pressure areas, natural ventilation can be achieved. That's why we used to call as our homes will be conducted in east and west, so that the wind direction is generally happens in these two directions, so that we used to keep the windows or doors in that specific locations, so that we'll get a proper natural ventilation. Then the rate of ventilation by natural means through windows or other openings, depends on direction and also the velocity of the wind outside. How the rate will differ? It will be completely depending on a natural means, the size of the windows and other openings, and as well as the direction of the air flow, and also and the velocity of wind which is outside. Now we'll see a dilution or cross ventilation. The inlet opening should be located on the windward side at a low level, and also the outlet opening should be located on the leeward side near to the top. So here we'll get confused. I'll just draw a picture. It is about, if we assume it is a room. So it is in a windward side, which is in lower, and the escape will be outside, because the air will comes in this way and it will go out. So that what will happen, it will cover the complete area and it will take out the contaminated air to the outside of the room. It is the leeward side, which you are going to keep in the top. Even if you see in our homes also, we used to keep the small ventilators close to the slab area. You will have multiple designs because you will get a proper ventilation. It is not about the air which will comes in. It is about the air, the hot air which will goes out. That is the requirement of these ventilators. We used to keep close to the roof area. Okay. Yes. Okay, lower level and also outside opening should be located at the leeward side near to the top, so that the incoming air stream is passed over the occupants. Then what will happen? It will just pass over to the occupant so that they'll get they'll have a good comfort. Under the factory's rules, ventilation openings area in a workroom shall be 15% of the floor area. What does it exactly mean? 15% of your floor area, in the sense, for example, if your floor, this is your complete shop floor, it is 100 SFT. Out of this 15 SFT, you will be keeping in the form of openings, either windows, either doors,